awareness about in the Constitution. It could be a big thing, it could be a small thing. I'll give you a minute each if you'd like to take time to do that. I'll start off by talking about the Third Amendment. In case you're not familiar with the Third Amendment, it says the government can't house soldiers in your home during a time of peace. That was a big deal back when the Constitution was written. It was a big deal when the Bill of Rights were added. It's not so much of a big deal in 2017. Matter of fact, we've had very few court cases. I think just one court case at the Supreme Court about the Third Amendment. And yet it sits there in the Constitution like a ghost. And people are wondering, well, why do we even have that? Why don't we get rid of it? Well, the Third Amendment, even though it's a little outdated, it does play a critical role in the right to privacy. We imply from the Third Amendment that your home is therefore your castle. Just like the Fourth Amendment says you can't be unreasonably searched and seized, which means that your body and your person and possessions are also part of your castle as well. The right to privacy is therefore created from these amendments being congealed together, and it gives us all sorts of controversial rulings because the right to privacy isn't specified in the Constitution, therefore there's a lot of controversy over it, such as the right to abortion. The right to abortion is protected, so says the Supreme Court, under the right to privacy given to us in part by this old amendment that very few people know and nobody thinks is influential whatsoever. Any other comments you guys would like to add?
You are so timely. If you were in my class today, you're thinking, we've heard this lecture twice because we were talking about the Third Amendment.
Outstanding.
And, I'm still waiting to see. I told them, and I'll just share with you all, there have been claims filed against the federal government for violation of the Third Amendment because of Hurricane Katrina. And thinking about the hurricanes we have suffered recently, it kind of makes me wonder if we'll always storm, disaster, catastrophe, have this kind of issue come up. But the problem there was that when people fled New Orleans and abandoned their homes to save their lives, there was still a lot of looting, and the National Guard and other entities were brought in to help restore order. But to do so, they sometimes camped out in people's front yards. And I remember being in New Orleans not too long after the water started to recede, and it was a strange sight to see the military on somebody's front porch in the United States of America, and the argument there was by some of those landowners, you have violated the Third Amendment. You have occupied, you are quartering yourself on my land.
It is a time of peace.
In a time of peace. It's a time of hurricane, but it's still a time of peace. And I haven't heard whether we paid money. We had, we talked about prove your damages sometimes, or how we'll address that. But I think there is great room in the Constitution to think creatively. We can't make any guarantees about what the Supreme Court is or isn't going to do. We can't even know whether they'll take a case that will tell us what something will mean. But I wouldn't advise you to go out and do anything rash, just banking on the fact that the Constitution will see you through. But I think in a way it's a very, very deep document, and there is room for creativity.
Thank you so much, Rose Barber. A round of applause for our panelists and for yourselves. Thank you guys for coming. See you in our various classes, or if you want to come up, say hey, you can. Thanks.